Over the course of my 27-year career, I've been deployed 5 times. The first time was to Somalia, of course 3 deployments to Iraq, and my final deployment was to Afghanistan. Very tough deployments, most of which were at least a year, but the toughest thing of all was leaving my family.
Having a husband away while you're going through troubled times is very difficult. It's very important that you keep the morale up in your spouse. No matter what you're going through on the home front, that's what gets them home.
It was a tough situation to be in. You had to find that balance, the balance between mission and being able to reach out to your family. I will say that I did lean on some of my fellow soldiers. We would discuss some family concerns that we may have had, and quite frankly, you get so focused on the mission at hand that you probably wouldn't even think of some of the simple solutions that one of your fellow soldiers would, simply propose to you. So why don't you do this? I mean, that really worked. And I also tried to convey that to my wife back at home.
During the first deployment, when Troy left, it was very difficult because he was gone for days and days and weeks at a time. And when we did get a chance to speak, it was only for 15 minutes. So we wrote down notes. We had to write them down and try to get through the first 10 most important ones at the top. The second deployment, it got a little better. So because they created this thing called Skype. And once Skype was available, we was just delighted to just hear his voice, because then we knew that he was alive. If you have a wife on the home front, when you come home, shouldn't nothing else be more important than to go to her and the children and acknowledge them and say, honey, I'm home. I'm happy to see you. Just that little bit does a lot. It refreshes the soul, and that helps her to continue, her soul. If her soul is good, then everything's as good that comes out of her to help your children and you. Trindle was born August 22nd in 2001. We noticed some regression in his behavior, so we called up our pediatrician. He did go on to say that this child would never speak. He would never be independent. He would never be able to live on his own. I was under a lot of stress, so I was crying, but I knew that it was time for me to get started to do the work, and it was time for me to put in work. So what I did, I educated myself. At that time, Fort Hood did not have a support group for autism. They encouraged me to start up a support group with them, and I did. I team up with parent groups and partner with and say, hey, let's go out and meet, with our kids. And we do that because that's what it's all about, talking, letting us know each milestone, what we need to look for. If you had a kid that was 10, well, tell me what I need to be looking for, because no one wanted to see the regression in our children. Trindle did speech therapy 3 and 4 times a week. We did speech therapy, OT, physical therapy, applied behavior. We did everything because I was destined to get him his voice back. The military have designed a program now where they provide respite for you. Respite is very crucial. What they do, they set you up and they do an interview with you, and they give you so many respite hours while your husband is away. They pay the provider to come into your home to care for your children. That gives the mother or whatever parent that's on the home front time to reanalyze things when they get a moment away, gain some peace within the mind, because taking care of a special needs child is actually 24/7. Do you have an emergency with it?
I'm truly thankful for my wife, and one thing I try to always convey to her is how much I appreciate her as a person, as a mother, and just being my support system.
To me, it's important that you still love one another. You have to remember why you fell in love, because it do get stressful. But giving up has never been an option. You don't give up a fight. You fight it out and figure it out. As a mother, I'm gonna do what I need to do and I have to do, no matter how hard it is. We're going to get through this.
My wife is the toughest person that I know. For her to deal with me being gone as much as I was gone, and of course in the process, just managing all our family affairs while I was away. I mean, she's my hero. She is.